What's up, everyone, and welcome to ClearTalk. So, today we're going to be talking about, we were going to be talking about the assassination attempt on Trump yesterday. I apologize that I'm a little bit behind on this. I attempted to try uh, to do this video earlier today, but things at home here have been I've been preoccupied trying to do some other stuff, um, and couldn't get to it. Like it kept pulling me away from doing it because I was trying to do the research to get the videos and pictures and stuff up. Last night, I know it happened yesterday. Last night I was not feeling too great, so I kind of went to bed a little earlier than normal. I mean, it wasn't crazy early, but it was a little bit earlier than normal. And then I didn't hear about this until I woke up. First thing, I woke up this morning and I see the post on YouTube from different sources, and I started going through all the stuff. You know, it just blew my mind that something like this um, actually happened. I mean, you know, this is, no matter how much you dislike or dislike somebody, um, uh, political violence, assassination on somebody, or even the attempt of it, is just, you know, we know it's possible. I mean, it's happened before, but it's just something that, for one, we haven't really been through. Not in my lifetime. You know, the previous assassination attempt that I know of, or from what I've understood, was on Reagan. I'm thinking back in '80 or something like that. And that was the last political, like, or just assassination attempt on a president. Clearly, there have been attacks on, you know, other people like senators or something like that. Even recently, but or like groups or something associated with a senator or whatever, or representative or something. But an actual assassination attempt on a president or a former president has not happened in my lifetime. So it's like, it seems like we're consistently having these once in a lifetime things going on, or, you know, historical events happening, um, around this election in particular. Uh, Anyways, so I do have the footage, the raw footage of the attempt. We're gonna go through. I'm gonna play that. We're gonna, you know, so I got some images that came out of it. We're gonna talk about. At this point, we do know who the suspect was, and or the shooter was. The shooter was taken down, killed, within minutes of it happening, of the shooting happening. Um, and But we do have information on him, and there's some speculation and some potential false information coming out. I don't know. We're gonna go over all that. And Anyway, so thank you for coming, being here. If you're watching this with me, if you know, all the normal stuff, like, subscribe, comment, that really doesn't matter at this point. So let me get swapped over here. I have here's the raw footage of the attempt. So I'm gonna play, and let's just watch it out.
No, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Move to spare. Hold. When you're ready. On you.
Ready?
Move.
Up.
Move. Go.
Up. Hawkeye's here.
Okay, here, move it to the spare.
Spare, get ready. Spare, get ready.
We ready?
Shooters down. Shooters down.
Shooter down.
Are we good?
Shooter's down.
Shooters down. Are we good to move?
We're
Let's
clear.
move. Let's move.
We're clear.
Come on.
Let me get my shoes. Let me get my shoes.
I got you, sir. I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes on.
Hold that in your head. It's bloody.
So we gotta move to the bus. Move to the bus. Let me get my shoes.
Okay, my shoes down. My shoes.
Watch out.
Wait.
Okay.
Overnight, former President
didn't know
Trump
it was gonna jump.
walking
Okay,
off
it's
his
just
plane
jump back.
hours after surviving this.
No, that's a little bit old.
So, yeah, I don't have my audio is coming through my headset. I didn't have it on. I've already heard and watched this quite a few times. So, if you watching through, you hear the shots go off, which I think everybody was thrown at first. There were reports from like people that were at the rally, and even from reporters and stuff, that at first it just sounded like firecrackers or something going off. It didn't initially register as gunshots to people, because apparently I've never, I've watched footage from Trump rallies several times, but I've never been to one or anything like that. But apparently for a lot of people, they are kind of used to fireworks or something, or firecrackers. Sometimes people apparently do set some of those off. I mean, I wouldn't think that it'd be in the middle of the rally. But I think initially something like that, it just didn't register as gunshots. But and then you hear the first shot,
Old, and if
and
you want to
immediately
really see something
you
that
see
said,
Trump,
take a look
grab
what
at his
happened.
ear, and then he, ducks down. Secret Service immediately jumps on him to protect him. There were several shots, from the initial one. I can only assume that, the shooter may have, because there was a slight delay between the first shot and then the consecutive repeated shots after that. If he panicked, realizing he missed the first shot, because it seemed like, Trump, well, he had kind of turned for a minute there. He was turned in that direction. I don't know. That probably threw the aim off of the shooter. Him turning, or maybe I don't know, but maybe he realized the first shot missed, and then he tried to make some consecutive repeated shots after that, to like in a shock or something. It's the only thing I can think of. Trying to somewhat place yourself in the mind of someone that would attempt this. Realizing that you missed, then you shock and trying to, if he was bound and determined, but either way, and then you hear cries out from the side. We do know that there was one person that did lose their life, and then two others that have been reported that are in critical condition still, or at least the last I saw a report, they were in critical condition. You'll hear screams out to this side over here, because the shots came from this direction and came across. There was people that saw scream you hear way over here. I'm assuming that's where somebody realized either they got shot, one of the three victims, either the one that, wound up dying, or the two that were critically injured. I'm assuming they noticed it, and, there was a initial reaction on that. I'm assuming that's what that's from. We don't know. Um, but the Secret Service, is all joined on them. You have other combat, you know, whether they were some type of local or SWAT or something, was on the sides, trying to clear the area. Yeah, I'm assuming because the Secret Service has, I think they're pretty much all medically trained. They're probably assessing him real quickly, initial assessments to make sure that he's okay to get up and move him, because that's the immediate thing they're trying to, first assess what did happen, what's the extremity of it, and then try to get him moved, and how they're going to do that. They get him up. He requests his shoes. I guess when him dropping, he lost one or both of his shoes. He's trying to do that.
Watch out.
And then, of course, in recognizing the moment, he does his fist pumps. And hey, I guess rightfully so. To show that he was trying, he was good. And then we see the blood on the ear, which I've got close-up images of that. They get him to the motorcade, get him in, try to to get him and escort him out. I'm assuming immediately taking him to some medical facility that they had probably implanned already. They don't do any kind of thing like this without having plans of how to execute any kind of situation. So yeah, that's the raw video. Like I said, here's some video. This is a picture up close. I don't know if it grazed or maybe even went through right there, but it at least grazed his ear. But and you see some images that I'm pretty sure, particularly this one, this is going to be something that's going to go down in history. A photo like this, him, fist pumping in defiance over what happened. Way you can look at it. Something like this is the absolute biggest, like, you never want to see it happen, but something like this is the most, like, strengthening type situation. Something like seeing something like this is going to motivation. That's what I was looking for. Motivation type, image for anybody who is a supporter of Trump. This is going to politically motivate, beyond anything that has previously done so. So this is, I don't know how, we're going to see in the coming days how this changes polls and things like that. I mean, at this, in the initial, situation, that's not important. Although he clearly saw the moment was there for him, but it's unfortunate. Something like this shouldn't happen. The strength, right, or the separation right now in the country as far as political motivation and whatnot from both sides is so hyped right now, so hyper. You've got the rhetoric from both sides being, in our day, it may not have been the strength as in which we like speak, or the motion that we speak with in more today than it would have been, say, 40, 50 years ago. Um, uh, when talking about things like this or in election, it is much more. How do I can't even find the word that I'm really looking for, but it's just much stronger, more aggressive now than it would have been, previously. We're much more kind of off the cuff, without abandonment, kind of way we tend to attack, verbally attack people. So the rhetoric from both sides here lately has been quite strong. As far as like who's doing what, who looks like what. The from the left side, the attacks on Trump as him being an authoritarian fascist, stuff like that, or at least it has felt like he's moved in that direction and has been influenced and pushed in that direction. And then of course from the from his side, his rhetoric towards Biden and everything has been just as bad. I mean, you to argue, and then that's one thing that's immediately coming out of this is the like immediate tax on blaming Biden, blaming the left, blaming all this kind of stuff. That they motivated this, something like this to happen. The rhetoric has caused this. You could say the exact same thing for the right side towards the left. I mean, it's the same kind of stuff that caused January 6th, and it's we know by national figures and data, the right is much more politically motivated to commit violence than the left. There's violence on both sides, but the right is way more predominant in that. So that type of rhetoric is completely unfounded and unnecessary, and is really just hypocritic. But violence is never the answer. I don't care how much you like or dislike somebody, whatever position they are in. I never will condone any type of violence. You can say what you want to say. Words are words, although they can create motivations or create actions. Actions are a different story, especially violent ones. Never do you want, to cause something like this. So, what we do know is that the shooter was a 20-year-old by the name of Thomas Matthews, or Matthew Crooks, something like that. He, according to Pennsylvania records, was a registered Republican. That it was initially put out that he was a registered Republican, but also had, apparently supposedly donated $15 to a progressive, a group called Progressive Turnout, which is like a Democratic like PAC group, or associated to a PAC group, that tries to help, or in every possible way, and even sometimes scammy-ish ways, try to get people to donate to Democratic causes, or supposed Democratic causes, in any form or fashion they can, spamming emails and all kinds of stuff. But that it come out that he had donated back in 2021 $15 to the PAC, and then his registration of a Republican apparently was after that. But it also has been said and reported by some that the whole donation to the PAC thing was not accurate. That there was another individual by the same name but without, or like by the Thomas Crooks without the Matthews, and it was like a individual was more around in the 60s, like 69 or something like that. Um, that lived in Pittsburgh. So the shooter was from a city not too far from the location that they were having the rally at in Pennsylvania. Um, but the reporting on the donation was from someone that was actually from Pittsburgh, and it was an older guy that with the name without the Matthews middle name. So potentially that whole initial reporting could be wrong. He may not have actually the 20-year-old that shooter may not have actually given money to the pact. I mean, that would have been when he was 17. Um, I don't know. It did it to some degree. It doesn't really add up. On that, because you're supposed to be 18 to donate anyways. I mean, granted, you could probably somehow try to falsify that, but and it doesn't really make much sense when you really look at it. But he was a registered Republican. Um, Anything that we speak about is going to be more, just speculative. Uh, he apparently does not, or it's been reported that he didn't have much of an online presence, which is odd for a 20-year-old. Uh, from what I saw, he graduated a few years from the high school in the town that he lived in. Um, he was a supposedly if I saw somewhere where it looked like he had graduated with like some honors of like or awards in math and science, and so apparently he was, if that's correct, then I mean he had some type of at least like intelligence. He wasn't, he was and has no record as far as like a rest record or anything like that. It has no priors. So he's kind of a blank page, is the way it's being reported at the moment. He's kind of a blank page. Um, the FBI and Secret Service and stuff are investigating the whole incident. He was apparently on a building outside the perimeter of the actual rally, um, that was said to even had police officials in that building. Like all those buildings had been apparently cleared prior to the event, but during the event, he somehow made it up onto to the roof of this building that was apparently like a glass manufacturer or something like that. There was eyewitness that was not within the rally that claims, they've have video recording of him claiming that he saw the individual climbing up on the roof and was trying to alert officials and stuff that were there close by. um, I'm assuming like some type of either police officers or something like that. He didn't know exactly himself who they were, but they were some type of official, like, enforcement or something. And they seemed a little confused. But even he admitted that the angle of the building or the roof would have made it hard for them to see him. So from where they were, there's been a lot of blame thrown around, saying that there's even reporting from somebody in the FBI, putting a claim on the Secret Service as being like irresponsible and not doing their job. I wouldn't listen to any of that kind of stuff. I mean, there's meticulous like stuff that goes into these events. They are there to protect. Um, but there's no way possible to like 100% prevent something like this from happening. Um, Sometimes shit just happens. You've checked everything, but for somehow something slips through the cracks, and it happens. I am not going to sit here and say that anybody was incompetent. it seemed to me the way the action went down and the way they protected him from the moment it happened. I mean, immediately. I mean, as soon as the first shots were fired, immediately, apparently, those that were, because they had like Secret Service and military people or whatever on, on different rooftops around the vicinity. Apparently, they immediately identified and shot back and took the shooter. Killed him. Um, the reaction was fast. I wouldn't put any claim to those trying to say that they allowed this to happen or something like that. That to me is just complete nonsense. It just happened. I feel like you know, and a lot of people were saying that they're surprised that it hadn't already happened, and I guess you could argue that there was always there's always a potential for something like this, especially as um controversial as Trump is at times. Uh, but uh, we don't really know the motivations of the guy that shot. Um, it could have been a number of things. It could have been politically motivated. He potentially could have be a never Trumper type of Republican that just felt like he needed to do what needed for to him maybe what he thought needed to be done to prevent him from being in office again or something. Um, or it could be something that has absolutely nothing to do with politics. It could have been who knows? It could have been a dare from somebody. It could have been him trying to impress somebody. I mean, somebody I saw a minute ago bring up about the Reagan assassination attempt that they know, afterwards they found that that wasn't politically motivated. It was him trying to impress some woman or something. Which, granted, that could be also just some sort of lie made up or something. But either way, like you just never really know the motivations of somebody who does this. You know, so right now everything is just speculatory. But it's something that shouldn't happen though. Biden immediately come out. He gave a speech last night. Um, uh, it, he was supposed to be going somewhere, wherever he was. He was supposed to be going to another event in another location, but he actually diverted and went back to the White House so that he could um, give a speech today, which he did not too long ago. Again, condoning just like he did last night, political violence of any kind. That it's sick and that it shouldn't happen. Wishing Trump well. He called Trump last night. Wishing him well. And hoping for full, quick recovery and all that. There's nothing nefarious here. I don't see any. I mean, and there's no need to go to that extreme either. Like to think and that something like just some spontaneous 20-year-old in Pennsylvania that somehow got a itch to climb up on a roof and shoot at the former president. We don't, like I said, we don't know um what happened or what was his motivations. Um, rather, so yes, he is fine, in good shape. As you saw the video that jumped to after the raw video of him coming down the plane, that was hours after the he hadn't gotten checked out and whatever, and they flew him to whatever destination they were at. He was coming off the plane, walking down. He's okay. I'm assuming preparing for the Republican convention to start tomorrow. All reportings are showing that there's no stopping on that. They were going to continue with plans on that. I would assume the mood will probably be a little different. But I'm actually interested to see how they go about it, and whether they're going to try to use this in just how they're going to try to use this event, like this is happening. Um, Whether it's going to be in a more just let's buckle in and you know get hardcore on the fight, or if it's going to be some type of like used to attack, which I think would be um more in more of a disrespectful kind of manner for me. So anyway, we'll see what happens within the next few days and the coming days. How people react to it. You already, like I said, you already have people shooting blames and making accusations. A lot of false stuff out there. Um, but take everything you hear with a grain of salt. And if it seems a little bit out there, and more than likely it's not true. um, but yes, uh, thankfully he is okay. And it was. This is what we are. This is how the outcome was. Because it much could have been drastically worse, and we'd be having a completely different conversation today. Everybody would be. Because like I said, never do you want something like this, any kind of violence happening. I don't care how much you dislike, as I said, how much you dislike somebody or whatever. I'm vehemently not a Trump supporter. I'm also not a Biden supporter. But I would not want something like this to happen to either one of them. I mean, it's just unnecessary and uncalled for, and it really shows. Um, it brings up a lot of discussions that really need to be had. Honest discussions about how maybe how we're the two sides are interacting with each other to a lot of things. The ease of, I mean, we can, you could go into gun control and everything else in this situation. I don't know, how any of that could have affected it, if it have affected it at all. But um, it's just we've got to become, we do need to become less polarized. But that starts with our leaders and elites like Trump, like Biden, like all your other, political elites, and how they, talk about the state of our country, and the extremes that they go to try to fearmonger people into thinking things are certain ways when they're not. Lies and stuff that eventually cause an act like this to be made. That's what needs to change for me. Anyways, thank you for joining me. If we get anything more substantial or stuff comes out, I will get back on here and do another update, or update throughout the Republican convention and stuff. If anything crazy happens there, and we'll talk about it. But let me know what you think in the comments. And yeah, again, if you like this kind of content, or I mean, hopefully we won't be having some story like this again. But uh, consider subscribing, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. Let me know what you think in the comments uh, about something like this or whatever else. Anything that you would like me uh, to talk about, anything that I've said today. Um, uh, you know, anyways, let's continue the conversation if you would like. So thank you very much, and until next time, Clear Talk. I'm out.